Hey guys. Alright, so I did a video, which I will upload later, talking about what happened with New England. But I want to come on here and kind of give you an updated take on what's going on with the playoffs right now. For those, as I said in my first video, talking about the playoffs and how they work, who might be new to the system and kind of not really have much of an idea, but even though they want to learn, even though they want to, even like I said, even though they want to learn and try to get a better gist of how things work in the tournament. So, so here's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing. As of yesterday, the AFC side of things, as far as the divisional round, is set. Tennessee is going to go to Baltimore. Houston's going to Kansas City. Now, here's where it gets interesting. We do know that if Kansas City wins and Baltimore wins, then Kansas City's got to go to Baltimore for the conference championship. We know that if Houston beats Kansas City and Baltimore wins, Houston's got to go to Baltimore. Or if Tennessee beats Baltimore and Kansas City beats Houston, Tennessee's got to go to Kansas City. But if Houston wins, as I was saying just there before I said Kansas City, if Houston beats Kansas City and Tennessee beats Baltimore, then Tennessee, by default, would go to Houston for the conference championship. So yeah, Houston, Texas still has a chance at NRG Stadium to host a conference championship should the Texans beat the Chiefs and the Titans beat the Ravens. That's the scenario right there. Now, with that said, that's how the AFC road to the Super Bowl could play out. Right now, a lot of folks are pointing at Baltimore and Kansas City, while others are looking at different scenarios that could play out, like Baltimore losing to Tennessee, Kansas City losing to Houston, thus Tennessee goes to Houston, or Tennessee goes to Kansas City. Now, with all that said, how does the NFC play out in all this? Well, right now, Seattle and Philadelphia is on NBC. The winner of that's going to Green Bay, because Minnesota earlier beat New Orleans. And that pretty much blew up ESPN's predictions on their bracket when it comes to the road to the Super Bowl. But how does that work? Well, it's interesting. You see, Philly is number 4. Seattle is number 5, despite the record differences. But the reason Philly's number 4 is because of the East champions. Now, with that said, here's how the scenario would likely play out in the eyes of a lot of people. One being basically Green Bay coming to San Francisco, which a lot of Packers and Niner fans would want, myself included. However, should San Francisco lose to Minnesota, then Minnesota would go to Green Bay if Green Bay was to beat either Seattle or Philly. But here's what's interesting. Seattle and Philly, right now, still have a chance to host the conference championship. Here's what I mean. Minnesota is slotted at number 6 as far as the tournament goes. Philly is 4, Seattle is 5. So let's say Minnesota beats San Francisco and gets into the conference championship. And then let's say Seattle or Philly beats Green Bay. Then Seattle or Philly, by default, would host the conference championship because of the seeding. This would have been the scenario, and I say this with all due respect, for Buffalo had they beaten Houston. See, if Buffalo would have beaten Houston, then they would be in the driver's seat of hosting a conference championship, but they never got the chance. And it's unfortunately because they lost. But right now, as we speak, Seattle and Philly still have an opportunity. What they would have to hope for in the scenario is Minnesota coming to Santa Clara, beating the Niners, and then one of them going to Green Bay and beating the Packers for one of them to host the conference championship. Again, I know it might sound complicated, but that's how it would work out. So, right now, as far as the road to the Super Bowl goes, it goes like this. Tennessee Baltimore winner faces Houston Kansas City winner. Now, here's how it would be looked at from this perspective. Basically, it is the Kansas City Houston winner at Baltimore, should Baltimore win, or Tennessee at Kansas City or Houston if one of them wins. So either it's Kansas City, Houston at Baltimore for the conference championship, or Tennessee at Houston or Kansas City. That's basically what it is. Kansas City wins, Baltimore loses, Kansas City gets the conference championship. If both top seeds win, then Tennessee goes to Houston. And as far as the NFC goes right now, more than likely, it's this way. Minnesota San Francisco winner will face the Green Bay versus Philly or Seattle winner. And basically it's like this. It's Seattle or Philly versus Green Bay winner at San Francisco, or it's Minnesota at Green Bay, or Minnesota at Philadelphia, or Minnesota at Seattle. That's how it works. Either San Francisco hosts the conference championship, or either Green Bay, Philly, or Seattle host the conference championship. That's how it works. So basically that's the updated road to the Super Bowl, and hopefully that helped out a little bit as far as explaining the scenario of how things could play out in the playoffs and how, certain teams could potentially host a conference championship as being that final step, which would be the final step to get to the Super Bowl at home. So hopefully that helped out, and let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you, and I am out.